So in terms of a one training session, for example, it might look something like this. Like you start with unopposed exercise, you might bring a passive defender, then you might have an overload scenario where there's less defenders than attackers. Then you might have a game-related practice, which is essentially a competitive game, but you've broken it down to one segment of what the real game is and focused on that. And then you could go, for example, to a condition game, which is obviously more complex because it is a bigger-sided competitive game. However, you put in conditions which obviously try to bring out the technical skill which you've worked on early on the session. So in this way, you can step by step, for example, and this way you could build up a training session. However, over the development journey of the player, you can also go step by step in different types of training exercises depending on the level of the player and that technique. And it's really important to say that when we talk about novices, or we talk about low performers in one technical attribute, that doesn't mean that you have to be 4 years old. For example, we could look at top players in the world today. Some of them will have weaknesses still. Champions League players, some of them maybe one against one defending will be very poor, or they might be very poor with their weak foot. They might be very poor in the air, for example, but they'll have some exceptional skills which have got them to that level. However, if you were to work with a top player who really is not comfortable with his weaker foot, it would make sense to start in an unopposed way with repetition and try to build up that automaticity of the coordination pattern of using the weaker foot. So it's not really about the overall level of the performer, it's about their expertise in performing that motor skill.